Hi, good Erev Shabbos, everybody. This week's Parsha has the immortal words, the Torah lo b'shamayim. The Torah is not in heaven, but someone should say, who will go up to heaven to get us down for us? It's not over the sea, who will say, who will cross the sea for us to, and go bring it, but it's very, this thing is very close to you, it's in your mouth and in your heart to do it. To keep the Torah, it's not difficult. A lot of people say, oh, it's a schwer zu sein a Yid. No, it's not true. It's not hard to be a Jew. It's hard to be a Jew without Torah, maybe. But with Torah, it's very, very easy. This is the easy way. Why did that thing fall? Are we still recording here? Alright, we're still recording. Right. How do I put this thing back up? It should be secure here. It's a pretty solid thing here. Okay. So we're back in business. So some of our friends here online have been asking me about, what about someone who's not yet taken the plunge? What should they do before they convert? And not only they haven't converted yet, but they're not even in the process. They're saving up money, let's say, so they can move to an Orthodox community. And then once they're in the community, they can start the process of converting. So some rabbis will consider the fact that you've been learning for a number of years and just working toward moving to the community, and they might expedite the conversion, but most rabbis won't. Whatever the standards are, that's what the standards are. It really should be more fluid. It should be, the rabbi should use his own discernment to try to figure out whether or not a person is really ready or not, and he should have that discernment if he's a rabbi. So part of the difficulty answering this question is, I don't know what community you're going to wind up in. You're going to wind up in my community? Well, then I would say you get a little bit of a head start, and then when you move here, it should be pretty quick. You're going to be in another community. This I don't know what to tell you, because every community has their own standards, and then the ones that are more standardized tend to take longer, no matter what. So is it going to be any benefit for you to get started practicing for now? Which is what they're going to expect from you once you do move into the community. Meaning when you move into the community, they're going to expect that you demonstrate devotion, usually for the amount of time that will cover the three major Jewish holidays, or at least the two. The Shavuos maybe not as much, but at least, time, about 6 months, because this way you'll experience at least Sukkot and Pesach, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Pesach, that you experience these things within the community and you demonstrate the devotion. So let's say if you start, so you could go through Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, or you go Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Pesach, and then if you do it that way, then you probably don't have to wait till Shavuos. Maybe just before Shavuos they'll convert you. But the truth is, in my community, we had people show up. They looked frum. They told us they wanted to convert, and they were there for Yontif, and we needed a tenth for a minyan, and we converted them. And then. I remember the rabbi said, "Oh, this guy, he looks frummer than a lot of the children of our balabatim," and so he's ready. And then it didn't really turn out the way we thought it would. So maybe it was a mistake. The guy disappeared not too long after that. So we don't know what's with him, but he's a Yid now. He's a part of Klal Yisrael. He's as much as anyone who's born Jewish, but just like people, like I say often, a lot of the people, they're born Jewish and they're not really part of the Klal Yisrael. if they're not keeping Torah mitzvahs. So he's in the same boat, but he's chayiv in all the mitzvahs, like someone who's born Jewish, because he went in front of the Beis Din and was mekabel the mitzvahs, and he went in the mikveh. We made a toughest down. We put him in the mikveh. All right, then we didn't hear from him anymore. So I don't know. That's what we dealt with. So we had one guy like that. We did that, and then and he stayed from, and he went to another Beis Din to make another gerus, and now he lives in Monsey, and he's kosher v'yosher, everything's good. Another guy, we did the same thing, and he disappeared. So is it our achrayus? I don't think so. It's his achrayus. Is it our responsibility? But anyway, so I'm just telling you what we've experienced before, but it's so, and I'm not talking about Asher Meza. I'm talking about me with my local Rav, and we find a third person, a balabas, something, and other times we have a third, maybe a very respected dayan. Not with those types of cases, the Erev Yontiv quickies that we've done, but I'm honest, we've done it. So why the guy needs to go make a ger l'chumra, I don't know. He was a very chashuv of Beis Din. We saw he looked like a yid. What are we supposed to do? He's sitting there in shul, and how are we supposed to explain that we have 10 people here, and this guy looks like a b'nai shel kedoshim with schwarze zaken and plastic hit and a borden payas, that we don't have a minyan. How do you explain that? So we had no choice. He's there for Yontiv, So anyway, so here's the question. So what do? You don't live in the frum community. The standard, it really shouldn't be a difference. If you're really serious about you want to convert, the main thing is, do you really want this? So you might as well practice it and see how it works for you. If it works for you, you might try it on your own without living in the community and realize, why should I pick up and move to a community? It's not for me. So for that reason alone, you should try to keep everything. The only issue is there are 2 mitzvahs that are controversial. One is, I guess 3 mitzvahs. But you can essentially keep everything but these. So, and you can keep them in a way of almost keeping them. So, the one that I think everyone would agree is tefillin. And for this reason, Shabbos also. Most people would say. So tefillin is an os, it's a sign. And Shabbos is an oath, it's a sign, and it's understood that those are reserved for Israel, meaning all the other mitzvahs. A Ben Noach can keep all the mitzvahs and be rewarded for them. It's just that he's rewarded as a mitzvah, ein mitzvah v'oiseh. Someone who is not commanded to do something but nonetheless does it. That's the understanding there. So, which means that the reward is less than the one who's commanded. Meaning, once he converts, then he's commanded, he receives a greater reward. So, meaning all of the mitzvahs in the Torah, except for tefillin and Shabbos, it would seem that a Gentile can do them, and he or she would receive reward for keeping those mitzvahs. Tefillin, we generally don't allow. Although some people would recommend, you could get like the toy tefillin that's not doing any mitzvah, just so you can experience what it's like and have the devotion, meaning that you're getting used to doing that. Others say you could put on the tefillin. Shabbos is a different question. So I have 2 Rebbeim who take opposite views on this. Rabbi Siegel tends to be very lenient and very welcoming of converts, he says that a non-Jew cannot keep Shabbos, and so therefore he should do one malacha every Shabbos. That's the standard custom. Is that someone who's in the process of converting, they do one thing that's prohibited on Shabbos every Shabbos. There's a story of there was a guy. He's sitting and learning in yeshiva, and they said, and he told his chavrusa. He said, I'm not really Jewish. They said, what is that? You're not allowed to keep Shabbos. What do you do? He said, well, I carry outside. He's like, but we have an Eruv. He said, yeah, but I don't hold from the Eruv. I don't know. They say though that the theory is that we were taught in yeshivas that Avram Avinu, how did he keep Shabbos when it's not clear if he is allowed to keep Shabbos? Is he a Jew or not? So he did something that would not be a malacha for a Jew, but would be a malacha for a non-Jew. And that would be wearing tzitzis in public outside of the Eruv. Because to wear tzitzis, because it's a mitzvah, a Jew may do that, but it would be considered carrying if it was not a mitzvah. Meaning, if you would wear something similar to tzitzis without the tzitzis on, meaning a talis cotton without tzitzis on, that it serves no purpose as a garment, unless it's a very large garment that covers the knees or something like that. Meaning, it's not really covering enough that you could wear it as a garment. It would not be considered a garment, something like that. Although some people, for that reason, very strict opinions that on Shabbos they wear a talis cotton that goes beyond the knees for that reason. The briskers and the Lev Torah, they do like that. I think the Lev Torah, they do that every day anyway. That it should have a chalois of a baguette, and the same thing with the briskers. So that's one part of the story. So then, but generally the general custom is someone who knows he's not Jewish, he should do one malacha on Shabbos, and then everything else you should keep just to practice. However, another one of my rebbeim is Rav Peretz Steinberg, who's an expert in Gerus. Rabbi Siegel is also, but anyway, so Rabbi Steinberg has a more lenient approach based on the Hafla, and the Chassam Sofer brings it down, the Sabra Rav brings it down. To answer this question of Avram Avinu and the other, even before Avram Avinu, the Medrash says that all the way from Adam until Abraham, there was at least one Shomer Shabbos in the world. And the question of whether or not it's prohibited to keep Shabbos would seem to be after the flood. So from Noah to Abraham, those 10 generations, how did he have 10 that they kept Shabbos? And these were the answer. So the answer is that there's two opinions as to why a non-Jew is not allowed to keep Shabbos. One is, like we said, that it's an os, it's a sign. And so therefore a sign is only for Israel. It's a sign between me and the children of Israel, is what it says in Exodus. But that's the opinion of the Midrash. The other opinion of the Gemara is that because it says Yom v'layla lo yishbaisu, that day and night you should not rest, meaning that a non-Jew is not allowed to rest day and night. And so it has nothing to do with Shabbos, but rather any day of the week you're not allowed to have a day off. It doesn't matter if it's Tuesday or Wednesday. You're also not allowed to observe a type of a Sabbath any day of the week, because it's not an issue about Sabbath as much as an issue of being a productive member of society. And so to take a day off for a non-Jew is not productive. As for a Jew, it's productive because keeping Shabbos is itself a mitzvah. But any other day of the week, if it's not a holiday, to just take a day off for a Jew is not allowed either. And it would seem with Shabbos also. So here's the thing. For a Jew, the day begins the night before, and it goes to the next day until the next night. For the non-Jew, it says Yomim v'layla lo yishbosu in Genesis. Day and night he shall not rest, which would seem to mean that during the day would begin in the morning and the following night. And so that would apply. And so both a Jew and a non-Jew would keep like this, because even Yontif, we cook, we light candles, we do malachas that we don't do on Shabbos. So therefore, when it says, so that's the understanding. With that, and that's how the Hafla understands it. If that's the case, and Rabbi Steinberg says Lamaisa, you could rely on this, so in keeping Shabbos, it's not a problem. And so that's the answer that we have as far as keeping Shabbos. You would really have to, once you do move into community, you have to ask the rabbi of that community, which opinion should you follow. Another thing is it comes to going to the mikveh. Because the question could be, if someone goes to the mikveh, are they having in mind to convert? Because there's an opinion that you could convert without a bezdin. If that's the case, so then if one's wife will go to the mikveh as is obligated, so then for a Jew, so then is she thereby become Jewish? With that approach, though, we say that without the bezdin, it's not a conversion. Maybe you want to use a swimming pool that some people say is a mikveh, some people say isn't, so then you have two doubts. I don't know, but it's time for me to go to the mikveh. It's almost Shabbos. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. We'll see you later.